Hey, it's your old pal Slim, and this is 70mm, a podcast for film lovers just like you. Every Monday, I chat about recently watched movies with my close friend and artist, Danny Haas.
Whoever wrote that scene doesn't know how tornadoes work. You don't go under an overpass. You find the deepest ditch next to you. That was the dumbest thing ever. Jonathan and all of them they all died anyway under that bridge.
And our close friend and movie insider, Protolexis.
I think Zack Snyder thinks he's James Cameron, but he's actually Michael Bay.
Every month we have a new theme that guides our main discussion, and this time it's comic book month. And Danny has chosen Man of Steel from 2013. Use the chapters to skip right to that discussion, but is this the best Superman movie? Is Snyder a genius? Or is this just action and destruction prawn disguised as a superhero movie? Find out now. Proto, before we're recording right now, but Danny and I were having a conversation in the pre-show. You know, Danny does a pre-show, unrecorded, in her Discord.
I've heard about this, yeah.
He gets everyone amped up. You know, he's got a blowhorn.
Oh gosh, here we go. This is big news.
We were talking about the comic. This is comic book month. We were talking about the comic book. You've heard of it. Batman Hush.
Oh, yeah.
What if, we're just spitballing here. What if we do an episode on Batman Hush for 70mm? The comic book, a storyline that changed our lives.
Oh, man.
I don't know if I've said it on this show, but Paper Keg's Batman Hush episode, I think it's episode 102. My favorite Paper Keg episode.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You guys were on a different level that episode. I don't think you ever reached that level again.
Oh, my.
We did 200 episodes after that, so that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Peaked soon, yeah.
Batman Hush.
I mean, I'm open to it.
Episode 111. Oh, you were pretty close.
That's what I said, 111.
I mean, what other comic are you going to talk about that's as good as Hush after that? So
I don't know. I think it'd be fun.
Problem.
Change of pace, you know? Flex some different muscles on this show, even though it's a movie podcast.
Body in that.
Catwoman's not in it. It's Catwoman. Okay.
Oh, right.
Although Danny did post an image in Discord earlier that looked very anatomically impossible or painful for her, that one pose.
She's super.
Pain is pleasure.
Should we do Hellraiser Part 2? That's the next question. After Hush, we do Hellraiser Part 2.
Pain is pleasure month.
Jesus wept. What an episode. All right, we need to focus up here. This is the Man of Steel episode. It's comic book month.
Let's get focused. Danny's
pick, Henry Cavill, Zack Snyder, the one that kicked off the DCU only to be rebooted 10 years later. We're going to get into it later in the show. Use the chapters to skip ahead. Skip over our comic talk. Skip over our... I actually had Starfield on my docket.
You were going to talk about Starfield?
Video games. Are you going to download Starfield from Bethesda?
Is it
Danny?
free?
It is free on Game Pass.
Oh. I only download free games.
We could search the unknown universe. You know?
Is it like No Man's Land or whatever that was? No Man's Sky? Because that made me nauseous playing.
Really?
So I deleted it.
Threw up.
Ugh. Filth. If I'm not trying to survive 6 rings and 100 people
in Apex,
get it out of my face.
Outlands. We do have some congratulations are in order. You know, we've been playing Apex for years. That's what kicked off this podcast. Like it or lump it, folks.
Wait, what did you just say?
I said like it or lump it.
That's not a phrase.
You never heard that?
That's not a phrase. No one's ever said that.
My parents said that constantly when I was growing up.
I don't believe you.
I'd say Google it, but I don't know what would come up if you Google some random
I'm not
old
Googling
sayings.
lump it.
Anywho, we've been playing Apex for years. And Proto just crossed uncharted territory. Proto just hit diamond in ranked for the first time ever. Congratulations to Proto are in order, I think.
Thank you. I mean, this will be remembered as the season of handicap, training wheels, whatever you want to call it, season 17. So it probably has an asterisk, doesn't count, but I'll take it. I'll take the diamond.
It counts in our heart. We've worked for this.
Take the dub. Maybe a month from now, we'll be talking about how we made Masters with the 3 other million people in the Apex community that made the highest tier available outside of Predator. Let's say hello to some patrons. Amanda and Evan joined this week, got access to the VHS Village Discord, access to some juicy discounts on Danny's prints. There was another Mission Impossible watch-along in our Discord.
Goodness.
Saw some pretty high ratings for, I think it was Rogue Nation that everyone watched. Was it Rogue Nation? Did I have that right?
I think it was Ghost Prot.
Oh, it was Ghost Protocol? They do kind of mix together the titles.
They're all the same.
Ghost Protocol. So the new movie's just around the corner. Dead Reckoning Part 1. Danny, did you watch any movies this week you want to talk about?
I watched one that, people love. Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Hell yeah.
Worldly, everyone loves this movie worldwide. It was my final watch before Dial of Destiny. I have friends that were at the red carpet last night, proud of them that they got invited, and they didn't ask me to come. I'm not bitter at all about it. With their photos with Harrison and George and Steven and Kathleen Kennedy and all the people that I'd love to meet one day, but that's fine.
Wow.
One of the people there was one of our guests from Waterworld episode. So, not jealous at all.
Are they really friends if they don't invite you to a Dial of Destiny premiere? That's the question I have.
That's a real good question. I'm gonna timestamp that and send it to them so when they hear this epised and maybe they'll give us a voicemail. Let them
answer it.
Yeah, they need to answer for their crimes.
That's like me getting 3 passes to see Dial of Destiny and not inviting Proto. I would never do such a thing. He would be the first person I text in a DM.
He would be the first you would text.
Yeah. Both of you are invited, but
you wouldn't text me.
You were in the text.
But you would text
it was a group DM.
First. Interesting.
You know who's in the group DM, okay? You are.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine.
If you want to take a flight to King of Prussia, Pennsylvania.
If you think I didn't look at flights.
How much were they?
Way too much.
Oh, jeez.
Not in the budget for anybody.
I like Crystal Skull. Can't even speak. I like it so much. I remember we did the Indiana Jones last year. It was very favorable on the Crystal Skull rewatch.
It's a fun time.
Brought up to 4 stars, if I remember correctly.
You could see it in your LB logs.
Was it 2 years ago? Oh my God.
Indiana Jones was 2 years ago?
That's not real. That was last year.
How long have we done this
Everything
podcast?
was last year.
2021? What the hell did we do last year?
What did we do last summer?
Jurassic World.
Oh,
the
my
road to Jurassic World.
Gymnastic.
Oh my God.
Oh. Anyway, I watched Indiana Jones. Very excited for the new movie. Was hoping for a letterboxd feature where I can mute people's movies so I don't see these.
Right.
Brian Foremost came through. I almost threw up.
Was that tonight?
Yeah.
What was his start? I'm going to predict a Brian Foremost star rating for that. 3 stars.
3.5.
Oh.
Yeah. Felt good, but I was like, God, I don't want to see this yet. Scared me. It was like a jump scare when I opened Letterboxd. I don't want to see this yet.
I'd love a mute feature. Maybe like mute until theatrical release or something like that.
Until.
Oh, yeah, like maybe you can kind of mute the festival buzz. Something like that. Oh, speaking of which, did you see that? Disclaimer on Letterboxd employee, but there's a release date tab now on the movie page.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like that.
I've heard this.
Nice.
Matt, the podcast Godfather in chat says vote on the Nolt Slim. So if we want the muting feature, we all have to go to Knowlton.
I don't know what Nolt is. Okay.
I'll have a link in the episode notes. Proto, what about you? Your AFI journey continuing in earnest.
AFI journey continues. I was able to knock off another 2 movies this week. So one of them ended up in a Letterboxd tweet. So there's the Asteroid City premiere that Letterboxd was at. And they asked Tom Hanks, what was his top 4 favorite movies of all time? And one of those movies is from 1946, The Best Years of Our Lives. And and I also watched this week.
You and Tom.
Me and Tom on the same wavelength in terms of watching movies, but I gave this movie 2 stars.
Oh, no.
From the AFI list. Pretty much everyone I follow has this as a 5-star movie. But watching this, I said in my review that I think this is the movie people are talking about when they say that old black and white movies are bland and boring. Because I just could not care less about what I was watching. It's about these 3 veterans coming back from World War II and trying to adjust to life in the States after the war, trying to get a job, trying to deal with injuries that they sustained in the war, going back to their old jobs. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting, but I just could not. It just could not hold my attention. It just felt very dated. It's 2.5 hours long. I could have cut this. I could have cut this down to 2 hours easily, if they would have let me. So whatever. I mean, maybe it's me.
Tom Hanks was dropping the praise. He's like, it's about World War II, but it's not. You know?
Yeah.
It would knock our socks off. Wow.
I mean, what a darling, Tom Hanks. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, so I didn't really care for that movie. But then I got around to watching another one I've been dying to watch, another Billy Wilder movie, The Apartment. Mm. And this is another movie people won't shut up about, right? You got to watch The Apartment. And it has my boy Jack Lemmon, of course, starring role. He's fantastic. Saw him in Some Like It Hot. Has Shirley MacLaine as well. And this is about a guy who works in an office running numbers for, I think, an insurance company. But he has an apartment that he rents out to his coworkers to have affairs in. Sex. Yeah.
My God.
And it's an interesting premise, especially from 1960. And I enjoyed a lot of it. I think it's a good movie. I gave it 3 stars, which is probably low for...
You would have been crucified if we did an Apartment episode and you gave it 3 stars. The amount of villagers that would have carried the cross for you to be attached to.
Listen, though, the thing about it was that I found myself halfway through. It was like just losing my attention. And if a movie can't hold my attention the whole way, how can I rate it higher than 3 stars? I couldn't focus on it because I was just, I don't know. So maybe it's me. Maybe there's something wrong with me this week. But that's what I watched this week. So I'm just chugging along here.
You're chugging it along. Every week we give out a free year of Letterboxd Pro. I won't do the disclaimer again since I said it already, but you can tag your reviews 70mm pod. Track those reviews. This person left a review. Hannah. I'm just going to call her out right now. She watched Across the Spider-Verse. My eyes hurt from not wanting to blink and miss a moment of this visual masterpiece. Wow.
Are you seeing this in Discord?
Wow. Matt says, up it to patron. Okay, from now on, we're giving out a free year of patron. My God. Custom posters?
Live.
Holy moly. Okay. Everyone calm down. So Hannah just got bumped up. Hannah just got bumped up to patron. Okay.
My gosh.
Now you can have a backdrop on your profile. My word. Also, the other reason why I gave it to Hannah was because she said that Bunch of Crunch was the best candy to get at the theater in her Discord. And I mean, it's true, but just had to call that out specifically.
Congrats, Hannah.
Well deserved. What other goofy topics did I have in here? Reddit. I had Reddit.
No one wants to talk about Reddit, Slim.
I had the Reddit shutdown in here, but we'll get into that in the
wrestling subreddit go down, and you've lost your mind.
You don't realize how much Reddit you like scrolling through until they're dark. All of my subreddits, they're gone. They're privatized, and I won't stand for it.
Those were 2 of the longest days of my life.
It's still going on for me. It's not over.
Most of my subs came back.
Ugh. Squirt Circle is still down. Okay, folks.
Squirt Circle?
Squared Circle, the wrestling subreddit. Okay, I'm not even sure if that'll make it in the final episode. I'm going to get an email from Spotify saying the episode was pulled down. I mean, to be honest, that probably is a subreddit, though. And I'm not sure if that one has gone dark. Anywho, what did I watch? I rewatched Insidious. Remember that movie, the horror movie Insidious?
I never watched it. Is that you just logged it? You said you were scared out of your mind watching it.
It's in some potential prep for a Letterboxd show episode. Might be getting the call up to the big show. Might be sitting in the host chair again very soon. But Insidious Chapter 2, I also watched today. And I had never seen Insidious Chapter 2. So Insidious 1, I remember love. It's not James 1, Josh. We can do process of elimination if you want, but I remember loving Insidious. So I didn't love it this time around. But so when I watched Insidious Chapter 2, I was like, I didn't even know James Wan also directed this. It's the same cast. I liked it a lot more than Insidious 1. I thought it was pretty scary. Watched it in my basement. Put my headphones in, my Beats.
I have no idea what these movies are about.
It's about this kid who, it's like this haunted being in the house. It kind of puts the kid into a coma. They have to venture into the other side to get him back. But also Patrick Wilson is the father, and it's related to his past as a kid. Like he also saw apparitions and ghosts as a kid, so it's connected to his childhood as well. So they move into another house in this one, but it's not really a spoiler. The movie's 10 years old, but something happens at the end of the first movie that is a cool cliffhanger, but they make a second movie. So you kind of have to deal with that. In this movie, something may be attached to one of the characters. So Patrick Wilson is directing for the first time a new Insidious. He's doing Insidious: The Red Door, which is supposed to be a sequel, a direct sequel to Chapter 2. I'm not watching the third or the fourth one. They don't relate to this family. It's a different storyline, so I'm not going to bother watching those.
I'm Googling Patrick Wilson real quick. It is the guy from Conjuring.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's done all these horror movies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was getting names and faces mixed up. Sorry. I love The Conjuring.
He played, what's his face in Aquaman? King Orm.
Aqualad.
The Ocean Master.
Ocean Master. Excellent helmet. We just talked about his body recently. Oh, Moonfall.
He was in Little Children? The Todd Field movie?
Oh my gosh.
His behind in that movie. He started the man-ass list, I think. His rear end.
Taunt.
Yeah, there's a scene in that movie that will knock your socks off, my friend. I don't think they were wearing socks in that scene, but
oh my.
They weren't wearing a whole lot. I'll tell you that much.
Subreddits you go to.
I'm not even saying it. I don't even want that audio being recorded of what I was about to say. I think it's time to get into Man of Steel.
It's time.
Finally.
Episode 175. It's been 10 years.
10th anniversary.
Almost to the day.
Nailed it.
Where this movie was released. Danny he's always thinking. He's always cranking that brain.
Mm-hmm. I don't think
Slim. Brain crank.
Man of Steel 2013. Proto, what's this movie about?
Somewhere in space, there is planet Krypton. They were a space traveling people who had decided to not space travel anymore, but their planet was dying, and them along with it, if they did not leave. They did not leave because, actually, we don't know why. They just didn't want to leave, LOL. But head scientist Jor-El manages to get his newborn son on a spacecraft and shot across space to Earth, where he will be the god. Raised in Kansas to Ma and Pa Kent, he learns that he's not from Earth and that he's got that dog in him. But there is other Kryptonians that have survived and want that dog, aka Krypton DNA that was branded onto Clark. Not really sure. Zod, Yes, that's the real name of the bad guy. Wants Clark and wants to destroy humanity, but Clark stands in his way and will stop at nothing to save the planet that he calls home and those that live there. Man of Steel.
We're drifting into 2-star territory right off the bat from the synopsis. I don't know. We'll see where we go from here.
Who knows?
And beyond this episode. 2013, this was kicking off the DC Extended Universe. That's short for universe. This was kicking it all off. Christopher Nolan. Everyone loves Christopher Nolan, right?
Yeah.
He's hot off the heels of The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Some would say the better of all three. And DC's like, give us what you got for Superman.
Yeah. But don't direct it.
Don't touch it. Don't write it. You can produce it. Do you think he would have had the stuff back in 2013 to kick this off after the Dark Knight trilogy?
Christopher Nolan? Wait, was that on the table for him to direct this? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think he was ever going to direct.
He wasn't going to direct. I think Goyer, during the filming of Rises, pitched this idea to Nolan that there could be this real world kind of grounded in the vein of what they've done with Batman. And then Nolan liked it so much that he pitched it to Warner, but I don't think Nolan ever pitched it as him directing, which I would have loved.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Breaking news.
I would have. I think I would have loved his vision for Superman rather than Zach's.
Oh.
I agree.
Thank you. Can always be good with Proto on my side.
I don't like this. I don't like it one bit. So 2013, my history with this movie, I saw it in theaters with my coworkers at Comixology in New York City. Everyone was amped out of their minds, and it went over like a wet fart in that theater. Everyone coming out in the lobby, they were gobsmacked by what transpired. I think I was too.
Yeah.
Danny, do you remember what your experience was seeing this for the first time?
I remember leading up to this. I remember the, high on the Dark Knight kind of stuff, knowing Nolan was a bit involved. And then there's the amazing trailer. I mean, this movie has a trailer for the ages that if you watch this trailer and you're not hyped for this film, just don't watch it.
Get hype.
Because this is a great trailer.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the theater and I remember liking this film, and I was shocked by so much outrage at this.
The murder, Superman murderer.
Right.
That scene.
Him killing. Superman killed.
Superman wouldn't kill.
I've never read a comic book before, but Superman just killed for the first time ever. That kind of conversations.
Right.
So that, it was like a wet fart afterwards. I mean, it was really frustrating to enjoy a movie and then it just be panned.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just don't talk about it until I brought it up with you recently.
Right. It's not a safe space.
It's not a safe space to talk about Man of Steel.
No.
Yeah, I remember seeing this in theater, and I remember feeling refreshed by this movie because I was already what's the word? I was already over the Marvel universe at this point.
Wow.
Like at this point, we had Thor, Iron Man 2, Captain America, and the Avengers movie had just come out before this in 2012. So when this came out, I remember the action, just the way the action was shot, feeling like a breath of fresh air. Like I was like, this looks compelling. This looks interesting, different than what we've been getting from Marvel. So I remember, really enjoying this when I saw it.
I think also at the time, it was still like this was the first one, but I think there was probably an excitement based on the fact that they pretty much didn't have a plan for the DC universe. It was like Man of Steel, and people didn't know well, what about Batman? What about everyone else? And they're just like, we'll see what happens.
I don't think they meant for this to be like a kickoff either.
Right.
I feel like the stuff that I read that this was Zach I think there was going to be just a Superman trilogy. I don't know if there was a plan to kick off the DC universe with this.
So we'll go around the room. Each host generally tries to jot down 3 things that we'd love to bring up in our conversation, and then we'll give our honorable mentions and letterboxed rating to close out the episode. Announced earlier mid-show, we'll be giving out a free year of Letterboxd Patron every week moving forward. Tag your reviews, 70mm pod. So this is Danny's pick. Shocking pick last week. I almost about fell out of my chair when you made the pick. So why don't you lead things off this week?
Well, I would like to start off by talking about Henry himself. Being Superman, at this point, unless you grew up on the Christopher Reeve stuff and the television stuff, Dean Cain, and
Dweeb.
For me, it was Smallville. I had my Tom Welling. I loved Brandon Routh a lot. I really loved him as Superman. I love Superman Returns. What loved is I'm losing that loosely. I liked Brandon as Superman. I think that's really what I liked. So when I think about Man of Steel, and when I think of Henry, I think this is my Superman. I think I finally found. I think I have the Superman that I like. I didn't grow up on Christopher Reeves at all. So he just kind of was like this iconic looking Superman. But for me, I've fallen in love with Henry as Superman. And I think it was this movie. I really enjoyed his performance. I think there's moments where I don't know if it's performance or is this the writing that kind of is a little bit of a downfall with him. But there are just moments in this where I just really find him quite compelling as Superman. I like his moments, especially after he's gone to his scout ship fortress, learning about his abilities. The learning to fly moment in this film gives me the chills every time. The slow walk out, the cape in the wind, the music, the score. When he puts his fist down and the snow and rock starts swirling around it, I get the chills. This is like iconic stuff for me. And so I think Henry was a great choice for Superman. And I find him compelling in this film.
Yeah, I like Henry as Clark and as Superman. He's got a great look. Like his cheekbones.
Yeah.
Like you can't teach that, what he's doing with those cheekbones.
No.
He's ripped. He might be a little more ripped than I would want as a Superman, but I also like him as Superman, personally. Again, I agree with like some of the goofy writing in this, but I liked seeing the young Henry as Clark. I think that also works to his favor. Like all those scenes, which we'll get into, but yeah, I like Henry for sure.
I read not to cut you off, Proto. I read an interesting factoid about his workout. I didn't double check, so if I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll be corrected. He refused to take any like supplements or like steroids to get that big. I was shocked. There's a documentary of him, his workout routine and what he did to get this massive. I was just blown away. The dedication.
It's a lot of work. I'm not doing that. Probably works out like 8 hours a day.
It was long days.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I love Henry in this role as well. He so much looks the part. And the way he carries himself in this. I agree. I think he's great in the role.
My number one, we just got to go deep right now.
Okay.
The relationship between Pa Kent and Clark in this movie. I mean, I said it in my review that it's never been better in anything DCU related. I love Pa Kent in this, and I know that's a scandalous statement to make. A lot of people think that Kevin Costner's portrayal as his dad is weak sauce, like the little hurricane scene is dumb as hell.
Tornado.
Whatever. They're both
Kansas.
Wind in some respects. And I remember when this had come out, like the Kevin Costner aspect was like the thing that people like just destroyed. And I don't remember loving this movie when I first saw it, but I did rewatch it a couple years ago, and I started to just ease my nerdery and be like, everyone's complaining about this isn't their Superman, but like I just am going to view it as what's called like an Elseworld Superman. Like this is just another version of Superman. When people read comics, they get pissed off when things are changed, but like it's just going to change again in like 5 years or go back to the way it was. Like who cares? Just enjoy the ride. So I started to do that, and I loved Pa Kent. I loved his portrayal as like a father that is afraid for what's going to happen to his son once the world finds out who he is. And he thinks like the world is not ready. He's not ready yet. I need to protect you from all of this. Like he's scared. The scene where, which is a bonkers scene, he like eventually tells Clark his like backstory when he's super young. Yeah. And Clark is like sad. You know, he talks about like he gives him that speech about like the world is going to have to find out about you eventually, and you're going to want to find out your real family and all that stuff. And he's like, can't I just keep pretending I'm your son? I love that backstory for the character of Clark. Like you don't really see that too much in other mainstream portrayals. Like I like the realistic portrayal of like him kind of being scared or not wanting to keep everything like under wraps and just being afraid of what the world will think. And I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, come on, everyone's going to love Superman. I mean, now, I don't know. Like, Pa Kent was right. Maybe he should have never revealed himself to be a Superman or a superhuman, because I would have nightmares thinking about what the hell would happen in our society if this was going to happen today. But I loved his final scene. So I loved everything about these two.
I just wanted to help.
I know you did, but we talked about this. Right? Right? We talked about this. You have... Oh, Clark, you have to keep this side of yourself a secret.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe. There's more at stake here than just our lives, Clark, or the lives of those around us. When the world finds out what you can do, it's going to change everything. Our beliefs, our notions of what it means to be human, everything. You saw how Pete's mom reacted, right? She was scared of Clark.
Why?
People are afraid of what they don't understand.
Is she right? Did God do this to me? Tell me.
Yeah, the tornado scene is really stupid, but I like Kevin Costner in this. I think, first of all, I think he has the best material in this, so I think he has the opportunity to give the best performance, and I think he does. Like I buy his performance. Like when that line when what's he say? He was like I wish I was your son or something. I wish I was your real son. And then he's like half crying, says, you are my son. Or whatever. That is so good.
All these changes that you're going through, one day you're going to think of them as a blessing. And when that day comes, you're going to have to make a choice. A choice of whether to stand proud in front of the human race or not.
Can I just keep pretending I'm your son?
You are my son.
So like all of those scenes together, they're the most human moments in this movie for me.
Yeah, the jumping around to the flashbacks, I like that format. You know, very, like scenes will go back to present day, back to the past when he was a kid and struggling. Like remember when he's like getting bullied and Pete picks him, like gives him his hand. Remember that scene where like their friendship changes over the years, and then it's like right outside of the barn where he's getting bullied, and
Sullivan's.
Pa Kent is like, "Are you all right, Dad? You know I am." He's like, "Well, that's not what I meant." And like, I just love that relationship, like showing in those like tough moments between the two of them.
I love Kevin as well. I love him in everything. So I was going to love him in this. I too find the tornado scene completely stupid. And I don't understand why they did this. I've watched this film multiple times, and it bugs me to high heavens that they couldn't have figured out a better way to kill off Jonathan than a way that was easily solvable with Superman. That's the problem. That's the thing. Pa Kent's death has to be unsolvable by Superman. Like it has to be Superman's powers cannot be able to save Jonathan.
Like maybe there should have been a camera crew like streaming live under the bridge.
That or I don't know why they jumped to such an older Clark. It still should have been the young Clark struggling with either super speed or courage to even think about saving him. I don't understand why they did it this route. And whoever wrote that scene doesn't know how tornadoes work. You don't go under an overpass. You find the deepest ditch next to you. That was the dumbest thing ever. Jonathan and all of them they all died anyway under that bridge.
Wait, should we turn around and drive in our cars? Or
everyone out of your car now.
Yeah.
That one, I was rewatching that scene. They see it in the distance. It's not even that close. Everyone out of the cars. Leave the cars. They can't help us now. Yes, they could drive really fast, but we can walk pretty slow out of this mess.
I just think that scene is easily solvable by changing the age of Superman. He's just old enough. He has the ability to step back, disappear, save him, come back. He has the knowledge of being able to do this. If they would have just kept the young Clark aspect, learning from Jonathan how to survive in this world as the alien. Mm-hmm. I feel like that scene would have worked so much better than an older Clark. Well, 33-year-old Henry Cavill playing an 18-year-old graduating high school.
His hair off the charts.
His hair alone.
18-year-old hair. I love the tornado scene, but I agree with everyone's negative thoughts on it. I still love it. I still love it.
I think what works is Henry Cavill does a really good yelling face.
Oh yeah.
He does it 3 or 4 times in this film. It's emotional enough to where it takes away from the negativity of that scene for me.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Mephistopheles in chat, Dean Cain would have saved him, just saying. Dean Cain probably doesn't even believe tornadoes are real. He probably thinks they're a conspiracy theory. That guy's a moron. Proto, what's your number one that you want to get into?
Well, that's a nice segue into my first point, is that I think the reason they did this scene this way is because, if it was Zack Snyder, if it was Goyer, everything in this movie is driven by action. So it's like, all right, Pa Kent has to die. Well, we're not going to have him die of cancer on a deathbed, talking to Clark, which would have been, seems like it could have been fitting. That's something he can't control. He can't stop or whatever. But this whole movie is built around action scenes, to the point where I felt that there isn't there's barely a human moment. There's barely a moment of just two characters together talking to each other in a normal way. The fact that this movie, it takes a half hour before Clark even shows up. And the Krypton stuff is cool. Okay, it looks cool. I like the way it's realized. The design of it is interesting. That's something that I think when you think of Superman, it's oh, I wish I could have seen more. I want to know more about Krypton. And they give it to you. That's cool. But it's built around having an action sequence that's 30 minutes long. So it's action, action, action. And then each scene is just an action sequence. Even those flashbacks, they're all action sequences. And they don't build, to me, they don't build any belief in this world. They're just there to kind of writers in a room, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we saw Superman as a kid and he had to save a school bus full of kids and push it out of a river? Wouldn't that be cool? That's a cool idea. Let's do that. Wouldn't it be cool if, he's a kid and he can't fight people because he'd just kill them. So we'll have bullies push him down. Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be a cool scene, right, guys? The whole movie is that. And I just couldn't really buy into it because I didn't feel like Clark was a realized character in this movie at all. I didn't really know what his motives were. All right, I'm kind of going all over the place, but we can just
keep going.
All right, yeah. So and I agree with what you're saying, Slim, is that I'm fine with saying like, this is an Elseworld story, make up your own kind of Superman. He can be different. He doesn't have to follow the canon events, you know, like do your own thing. The thing though, with this though, is that it kind of sucks. Like the realization of Superman here sucks. Like it's not good. I mean, the fact that Lois Lane, she starts the movie with a dick measuring. Those words come out of her mouth. What if I have to take a tinkle? There's no relationship between these two characters, right? There's no relationship between them at all. You don't really know what Clark wants in this. They try to give it to you with Pa Kent, right? Of like, hey, you got to like figure out what kind of character you're going to have. But you don't, there's no conflict of him figuring that out. There's no moment of him having to choose between one side or another. There could have been where he chooses between Krypton and he chooses between humanity. But instead we have this Zod moment where Zod's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to kill all the humans. What do you think about that? And Clark's like, well, no, of course I'm not. They don't even give you an opportunity for there to be a struggle. So this character has no struggles. He has no moment. And that's what's interesting about Superman. Like Superman is an all-powerful being who can do things. But what's important about him is to have to make a choice because he can choose. Like he's the one who has to choose. And he's never given that opportunity in this. Like the most interesting thing about him, he never does in this movie to me. Like, do you feel like those core things about Superman that he fulfills them in this movie at all?
I will say that the writing is the weakest part. Like when he shows up at the water tanker, on this film, I was like, why is he working on the tanker? And they don't really tell you that. I guess his main struggle is to find his past. He's trying to find his parents. Like, is that why he's working at the tanker and just doing these weird odd jobs to like overhear like mystery military locations? Or is he just trying to find his way working weird jobs? Danny, do you have an opinion on that?
I always assumed, because we end up at him in the Arctic,
right,
that is his path, is finding his past. That was my assumption. It's not spelled out that way.
No, they could have made that way more clear.
It's left up to a kind of an imagination, thinking that we're following along with this writing well, and it's kind of jumbled.
Even if they had like another flashback scene where he leaves home, talking to his mom, like I gotta find myself, like I gotta find my history, I gotta find my people. Because when he comes back and tells her it's a really cool scene. He's like, I found my parents.
Oh, that's what you were doing.
And then, I've been gone for X amount of years. I agree that this isn't quote unquote Superman. And that's what I thought when I first saw this movie. And that's what riled me. But then I just kind of like gave up that, like, you know, that's fine. This isn't quote unquote Superman. But I'm trying to more accept what they were going for in this movie, whether it works or not. I mean, with regards to action, I mean, the entire last 30 minutes is like action, genocide porn.
40.
Like the amount
it's like destruction porn
in Metropolis. I remember specifically, I think I said this on another podcast years ago, but like probably the worst scene is when Superman and Lois kiss as the human ash is falling on them from the destruction of Metropolis. And they're having like this cute moment. I'm like thinking to myself, like, we could have done that a little bit better. Like there's millions dead around them. They don't really need a kiss in that moment. Maybe save that one for the second movie. I don't know. Danny, number two.
Number two, Hans's score in this.
Oh,
I've seen so many reviews come through complaining about this score, and I don't get it. I find it soothing.
I'll ban anyone complaining about the score. I'll ban them instantly.
I find it. One of my favorite moment is, you know, it has that normal motif that kind of goes throughout, and when young Clark is in school, getting his sonic vision, hearing, etc., seeing through people, and he hides in the closet, the broom closet. His mother comes, she talks him down, and she's like, make the world smaller. And then it's just Hans's score played one note at a time on the piano, real small. It gives me the chills. I love it. I love the way that they work that in with that scene. I love it. I love it when he's doing the flight. There's something about the simplicity of Hans's score in this that I find it's inspired, because we have John Williams' score, and while that is one of the most iconic movie scores of all time, if not one of John's best, Hans had to separate the two because this has to be a new Superman. So I think he made the right choice, and I really do love this score.
I remember when this first was announced and the score came out like ahead of the release, like I was listening to the score going on runs. That's how much I love this score. Yeah. We might be the odd people out here. I'm waiting.
You were tying like a red towel around your neck doing your runs.
Yeah, I knew you guys loved this score, so I was
spreading
watching
his
the
cheeks
movie,
right now,
and I'm trying to pay attention to it, and it's a little hard to hear with all the explosions and crushing and crashing going on in the movie. So actually today, I said, well, let me sit down, let me open up my Spotify app, and let me just listen to the score. And I got to be honest, I felt nothing listening to the score. I kept like turning it up. Like it feels like you can't hear it as you're listening to it. Like I kept turning it up. I'm like, why am I struggling to hear this score? So I don't, like I say this to me, like you could probably play this and then like the Avengers theme or Captain America's theme, or like anything from Marvel.
No, I'll stop.
I
I'll cut your mic off. I'll cut your mic off right now.
Apart.
We don't need this. Not in this Superman.
I tried.
I can't believe what I just heard. I might edit that out of the released episode. What Proto just said. It's so scandalous. I won't stand for it. 9, number 2. Let's see. I do want to talk about Krypton and the idea to open up this movie with like what felt like 45 minutes on Krypton. I remember another reason why people were aghast in theaters seeing this opening night.
Animals in space.
they were losing their minds.
The water buffalo and the dragonflies.
But man, you know what? I was thinking of the Boss Baby tweet. I was getting Avatar vibes from the start of this movie. Big time. I'm not sure if James Cameron was getting some ideas from watching this, but...
Wait, what's the Boss Baby tweet? I don't get it,
I'll link to it in the episode notes. I like the idea of them spending time and putting money into like what Krypton looks like. Like, even though I agree with Proto that it's complete nonsense that they didn't leave the planet, like what is the actual reason why they wouldn't leave Krypton? They have the ability to terraform other planets. I don't really understand why they wouldn't have just jets in their backyard. Be like, let's get the hell out of here, hun.
That's in the story, right?
I think
they said that they couldn't keep terraforming or something.
Right. I know they stopped terraforming like thousands of years ago, but I don't know. I guess they just lost the technology.
They had fake news media too.
Could be.
It wasn't actually happening.
I like Russell Crowe. I like the action elements in this. I don't think I liked it at all when I saw it in theaters, but again, I've just kind of like given up my predisposition to the Superman universe. Not that I'm like a giant Superman fan growing up. I did not care for Superman at all, but I'm into the action from Krypton. I like Zod. I like the design of him and his team. I think they look so cool. I love that mask design.
Yeah.
The one action scene that I really love is when she is fighting Clark. No, she's fighting the soldiers and she's like zipping like really fast using the super speed.
Yeah.
I love how that was shown on film. I feel like I never see super speed shown like that in anything, but it feels like the only way they should do it. But I like the Krypton backstory in this. I like that they were like adventurers and explorers and terraforming other planets. I don't understand the reasoning why they stopped though.
I love that segment when Jor-El's giving that back history of Krypton to Clark, and it's that Art Deco kind of embossed metal storytelling bit. I love that. It's gorgeous. But I think one of my favorite bits about the Krypton stuff is the use of house sigils and like the glyphs for the different houses, the L's and whoever.
Yeah. It's cool seeing
using-
Zod wear that. Like he's got the uniform and like his own S.
His
on
like
his chest.
sickle.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I liked that. And one of the things I was shocked about, I watched a bit of the filming of this. So much of Michael Shannon's moments, he's not even, that whole suit is CGI'd on him. He's not wearing a suit. He's wearing like a gray thing the whole time.
Yeah, that's
that
weird.
whole getup I thought would have been like a practical, some sort of massive suit to wear, but he's just walking around with dots on.
Yeah, some scenes I did notice that like it wasn't matching correctly, but then at the same
you
time I was
notice
like
it.
they couldn't have 3D printed some light ass costume for him to wear.
Yeah, that was baffling to me too. All that. There's, I mean, the female, I can't think of her name right now. The female Krypton, she has a suit made for her and she looks great in it. But everyone else is wearing like a dotted gray leotard. Wild. I do love the Krypton stuff though.
Yeah, I like
Yeah, I like it too. I actually thought while I was watching this, like from what they explained about Krypton, of that, like when they're born, everyone has a role that they fulfill. And it seems like, all right, these guys have like genetics under control. I thought like it would have been like an idea that like when you die, you're like reborn in the Genesis chamber, so that like they don't actually have new. And also the fact that they said like this is the first, Kal-El is like the first natural born Krypton in centuries. I thought that's like what they were implying, that like they don't actually produce any new people. They just like clones of these people are born after. But that's actually not the case. It's just like they pull them out of this Genesis chamber. I was actually kind of bummed that it wasn't that way, because I thought that would be like a really interesting idea, that like the people of Krypton are like immortal in that way, and maybe like that's why they don't want to leave, because they're like this is their home planet, this is their turf. But they had a worse idea they went with.
Imagine the nerds reacting to that idea at the time.
I do like
from the popcorn at the screen.
I think it was just, they were, each person was like bred for a specific role in society.
Yeah.
Thought that was interesting, that Plato's logic. And then you see Clark reading Plato when he gets beat up by the kids outside of Sullivan's. It's fascinating.
Whose turn is it? Proto.
I really did not like the shaky camera that this is shot in.
A lot of it in this.
I guess in some way it kind of maybe makes it feel more real, especially in those scenes where Clark is learning to fly, where it's almost like the camera can't find him, because he's moving so fast. So he's like trying to catch up to him. So I kind of see like the purpose in that, but it was used everywhere. Like it would just be that like people walking, and it's as if Zack Snyder's behind them, like stumbling, like trying to like hold on to the camera, like following them. I just don't really understand that choice. And is that like a Zack Snyder thing? Does he do that in other movies?
I mean, he does experiment a lot with his cameras, whether it be lenses or otherwise. Like I forgot that it was in this until the Krypton stuff, where it like zooms in the distance on Jor-El while he's flying the thing. And I was like, oh, that's right. He does these like weird realistic zooms in this. I actually like that because it does feel a little bit more realistic. It doesn't make any sense.
It feels like a documentary type film.
Yeah, it's so weird that like, why would there be a zoom happening here? But I like it.
I don't enjoy it. It feels fake. And I think that's what makes me feel like I wish Nolan would have directed this. Because I don't enjoy Zach's work that much. And it's just a taste. I know people love Watchmen and 300, and I mean, we liked Justice League Snyder Cut. I mean, I don't enjoy it. I don't like the colors of this world. It's
Too
very
muted.
drab. It's too muted. I just feel like Nolan would have done a little bit better. I don't know if better is the right word. It would have been more my speed for filming this movie. The shaky cam does get a bit much, and it just kind of feels fake. I know we're watching a Superman movie, but I don't know. It's weird.
Mhm.
I don't enjoy it as much.
It actually, it started to hurt my eyes after a while because it felt like I was, my eyes are trying to focus, but there's also like this mixture of shaky cam and blurred vision going on too. Because he does that a lot as well, where he'll have like a character in the middle and then everything around it will be blurred out. Like it starts the movie like that with the birth scene where it's just like his mother's face and then everything else is blurred around it.
I feel vindicated by saying the movies were too loud, hurting my ears, and now, your eyes are feeling pain watching this.
It also does that thing I hate, and I've thought about it because it just happened in Crystal Skull, and it's when like the lens reacts to something up close, like the lens gets hit of the camera or something. Some dirt flies on the lens, as if it takes me out so bad. There's a moment when they're fighting in the Smallville, and she does something where she breaks a rock and it like hits the lens or the dust. I'm like, no, that's like breaking the fourth wall, and I don't like
video
it.
Gamey.
Yeah, I'm not there. I didn't get hit by something. Don't put this on my lens.
Remember the ants in?
That's what I'm talking about. Crystal Skull, when she squishes the ants between her knees and the guts fly on the screen lens, as if I'm there.
Nobody in the editing room dared to suggest to Spielberg that
Spielberg,
this was
you're
lame.
wrong.
Nobody had the bees to do it.
If Spielberg isn't going to tell George the story sucks, no one's telling Spielberg this was a bad idea.
Okay, Danny, number 3.
Number 3, we have to talk about the ending of this film. The destruction porn, the killing of Zod. I'm pro
I'm pro genocide for a second. I'm pro genocide scene in Man of Steel.
I'm pro Zod death is what I was going to say.
Okay.
I like the Zod death. I feel like it fits. I feel like it fits the continuation of the DC universe. It feels like something that is nothing odd. I feel like this doesn't feel out of character to me for Superman, especially when Zod said he was giving him no choice anyway. This wasn't going to end without one of them dying. So that happens. I don't love all the destruction of the city. It's a very long fight scene, and it not only gets kind of repetitive where it's like, let's throw him into this building. Let's throw him into that building. This building's falling. It just gets kind of boring. Like I enjoy watching two superhumans fight, especially this was something that we really hadn't seen in a comic book movie that I kind of remember. Most of it was kind of, I don't know. This felt kind of new, but it took forever to get to the ending. I like the bits in between that with the staff from the Daily Planet.
Oh yeah,
with Lawrence Fishburne's Perry, and I think she was called Jenny Olsen and not Jimmy Olsen, the one that gets caught in the rubble. I love that moment in this film. It's like one of the few bits of humanity that we get outside of Superman and stuff. But yeah, I would love to hear what you guys thoughts of the ending of this film.
Yeah, when this had come out, I mean, the murder scene, people flipped their lids. They could
Lost
not
their
deal
minds.
with it. Superman murdering people, like, these people don't know Jackass. I mean, name 100 comic books you've ever read with Superman in it. Don't even tell me about what you care about Superman murdering somebody.
Gatekeep them.
I will gatekeep your ass out of your opinion for the end of this movie.
Maybe read the one where he actually kills Zod in it.
I know he literally kills the 3 of them in the Phantom Zone in a comic book that's like 40 years old. Enough. I liked it. I mean, I'm not saying I like murder, but I think it was pretty well done that he had no choice at that moment. I don't really understand why a Krypton's neck could be snapped to murder them. Like, I don't know the biology of the superhuman beings. I don't really know why that would work. But yeah, and I loved his reaction to it, like how far he had to go to do it. That scene was pretty cool too. So
Wrecked him.
I mean, but in general, there's a lot of destruction in this.
A lot
of destruction. It's pretty realistic. Some of it's quite unsettling, but it's a lot.
I try to think of another, at least superhero movie where we get this much. I feel like we don't. I feel like even the Avengers, when the Chitauri, when they kind of attack New York, I feel like not even
they're
then
not
it's
wiping
this
out
bad.
like 30
they're not,
blocks.
Yeah.
of
Like, this
destruction.
is insane destruction.
It's too much. But I mean, with the machine that they designed, they set them up for that. This terraforming machine.
right, which was
So-
badass.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I like the Zod killing as well, because it does, like, there's the thing where it's, here Superman has to make like a really hard choice, to kill this guy, because they kind of like set it up that he has no other option. So I like that. And I think, again, I think the whole destruction of the city is just another thing where this movie leads with action rather than making sense or, leading with the story. Because it's just like, hey, wouldn't it be cool for two superheroes to be like thrown through buildings and like skyscrapers to be falling left and right as they're fighting in a city?
Mm-hmm.
That's much better than like, the thing that would make sense is that like Clark lures him out of the city, right? And like
Yeah.
they fight in the ocean
100%,
or
yeah.
in a field or something, but that's boring. So of course they're going to fight in a city. So I guess of all the stupid decisions that are made in this movie, this one's like the most interesting because visually it's just really, it's compelling. Like you can't help but think it's cool to see, Superman fly through a building.
Right. I mean, even at the end of the movie, like when he gets the job as the reporter, I'm thinking about like, what building are they even working in? Like the reconstruction of Metropolis would take decades.
Superman did it.
They're already back to work. We had a pandemic. It's been years we're in this thing and people haven't even gone back to the office yet.
He cauterized all the bleeds that were going on. real quick.
Yeah, there'd be some corny comic book explanation as to how 99% of people were saved somehow.
Remember in Superman 4 where he rebuilt the Great Wall of China with his eyes?
Oh my
Oh my
God. Maybe he used those powers.
We forgot about this power that Superman has.
My
You're
third
right.
one will be kind of quick. There are some amazing visuals in this movie. Like Zack Snyder, I feel like maybe was born to be a music video director or just trailers. Like I love almost every Zack Snyder trailer because he like gets the cool money shots like in there. Like when you're seeing him as a young boy with the clothesline and the dog, like, oh my God, this is so cool. The scene that I love every time I get to it, I referenced it last week, but it's like when he's at the other side of the terraformer and he's inside of the beam and he's got to like find the strength to like stand up and fly through it. And you just see the hand coming up in screen. Like that is maybe top 3 comic book movie thing ever. I love that shot. And he zips up through there and the music that allegedly only Danny and I can hear while watching this movie is firing up right there. Like that's a 5-star moment right there. So that's just visually. I do want to give Zack Snyder some props for this movie. Visually, there's a lot of snap. It's just kind of like a bummer, like how things went. Like Batman versus Superman. I don't think we'll ever cover that movie. I don't.
No, we are never covering.
I don't ever want to really watch
Stay
that
tuned.
movie and have a conversation.
I'm pissed that you just brought it up.
Because like I would have loved to be in a universe where like Man of Steel, okay, is the first one. And we talked about this in other movies. Like maybe the first one wasn't that great. But all right, let's see what he does in the second one. And it like just got sidetracked. You rope Ben Affleck, Batman into it. It becomes this whole thing. And then you get the Justice League. It just, the way everything unfolded is just like a giant negative for what potentially could have been, in my opinion. So whatever.
Wait, that scene real quick.
Yeah.
There's the scene where he's going up the beam, the hand up theme. There's that shot where you can allegedly see Christopher Reeve's face
Right. Yeah.
on top of. I watched an interview where Zach said it was only coincidence that he looked like Reeves in that moment.
Really?
And I said, bullshit, BS. There's a moment where it's literally Christopher Reeve's face. It's not Henry Cavill. You cannot tell me that's not real, that he didn't do that.
Zach, please.
Zach, come
please.
off it. My favorite, this is part of Slim's before we go on to Protos. My favorite stuff that Zach did were the moments where the kind of wide shots of Superman approaching the armies, where he's kind of floating above, coming down. I love those shots of him, very Christ-like-esque. I don't enjoy his action sequences. I think a lot of my favorite bits of what he produced were the like slow moments, the moments where he's, even the shot of him being handcuffed is very striking to see Superman handcuffed. I love that moment.
All that would have been gone if Nolan would have directed it. Like
I don't disagree.
His action stuff is abominable. Like any action scene in a Batman movie, you're seeing somebody's hip. Like you're not seeing a fight scene. Like it's dreadful.
It's
like he zooms in 10x, whatever IMAX lens he has, he's looking at their leg. They're having a fight. You can't make anything out. Just awful.
I have this memory of seeing, and maybe this was from Superman Returns, but I thought there was a moment in this where Superman is like up in space and he does like the Jesus Christ pose.
It was in this movie.
What?
It was. I think when he gets done
It's when he
talking
comes
with
out
Russell
of it.
Crowe.
He like comes out of the.
Yeah, and there's
That
also
was
the
the
scene where he
Christ
talks to the priest.
Yeah.
Oh, with the shot of Jesus in the
In
garden.
the background. It's like not even subtle
I love
at
it, though.
all. It's so weird.
I did love that shot.
We didn't really, we talked about the action stuff. We didn't really talk directly about the CG. I thought some of it looked great. Like, I think the Krypton ships and stuff look amazing when they're like landing and coming down and like those, it looks like an insect opening up.
Yeah.
Like, I thought
cool.
that all that stuff looks amazing. But some of the stuff looked dated, like the FaceTime drone thing. That like that metallic
What?
that would like come out and speak to him.
It has a name.
Oh yeah.
It's from the books too. Something with a K.
Yeah, that looked a little iffy, but I don't think like the CG it wasn't like bad to the point where I was like, ooh, this is bad. It was just kind of like maybe a little bit noticeable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think the one moment that I always want to skip is when he comes to fight that one terraformer in India. And it has the tentacle Doc Ock arms coming out of it.
I forgot about that scene entirely until I watched this movie again.
It's so pointless. Just let him destroy the one terraformer and let's move on to the next 40-minute battle in Metropolis. Like, we don't need to add this stupid
Does he
tentacle.
even beat it? He just like flies to the bottom and it like disappears.
Honestly, I don't really know what happened to the arms. It happens poorly.
Mm-hmm. All right, Danny, honorable mentions, final rating.
Oh, hold on. Let me pull up my notes. I was happy that for this Superman story, they don't waste any of our time dealing with kryptonite. I don't care. Like, we don't have to have kryptonite in this. We don't need to use this as some sort of weakness that they use in every. It just, thank you for not wasting my time with kryptonite in this film. I'm still at 4 stars for this film. I have a great time watching it. I love Henry as Superman. I like Amy Adams as Lois Lane.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's a bit poorly written for her acting chops and the kind of relationship that she could have had with Clark. But I think it would have been better suited if they set a sequel up instead of Batman vs Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy watching this film. I think we talked about the moments that I don't like, but it kind of, there's so much of it that outweighs the negative for me. And even at the time I was very excited for the future of Superman.
Right.
Watching this film.
I feel like I was excited when they announced Batman versus Superman, like after this too. Like initially I was excited and I was like hoping that there was like a post-credit scene of this movie where it shows like Bruce in the Batcave and he sees like the destruction happening in Metropolis and he gets pissed and then it's like, that's what kicks off the second movie. Like that would have been cool, but it's like, man, how do you screw up a Batman versus Superman movie? Like that was rumored for decades as a
Did they
kid.
screw it
Talking
up?
about it. I have the pod written down. I liked that they showed the empty pod in his scout Fortress of Solitude. Like there's could be another
someone
Kryptonian running around. I always assumed it was a hint at Supergirl or something, which would have been rad.
Oh,
but
yeah, that was cool. I noticed that this feeling too. My honorable mentions. The Codex. I love that it's like a skull.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
looked
an
cool.
ancient Kryptonian skull. That is so cool. There's a lot of lines that are just amazing, even though the writing in general doesn't fly. Like Russell's talking about how his cells will drink in the radiation of the young sun. Also, there's that line later where they'll join you in the sun. Like, there's so much cool stuff between the two of them. I think, like setting him up about like his purpose and all that stuff, and uniting the two cultures. Oh yeah, how about like that destroyed moon in the background of Krypton? Did you see that? That was pretty cool looking. All those far away moments, like the CGI, I thought they looked super cool. Like the ship landing that you were talking about, like in the various cities. Loved it. Lois meeting Clark so soon in this movie was also like a brain melting moment for comic fans at the time. Like I could feel the fists clenching in the audience when they were meeting, and he's like Superman, but not dressed up. It was just craziness.
They wanted them to make Lois stupid. They couldn't get past the fact that she was smart enough to figure out Clark right away.
She finds him like the next day.
We always, how did he just put glasses on and he hides the Well, she figured it out.
Right, yeah.
Fast.
And
sorry, she's smart this time.
My favorite scene with her, I think, is when he tells the story of the much maligned tornado scene. He's like, my dad died thinking that the world was not ready. I loved her reaction to that story. Like immediately him telling that story and her reaction to it, like they're connected. And he even tells his mom, like, she's a friend. Like, we don't have anything to worry about with her. I thought that was amazing. Because it's a long scene. And then, like, you cut to her and she's, like, near tears.
Every scene's a long scene.
You know, in that cemetery.
The penis pods to the Phantom Zone.
They were questionably designed.
Mm-hmm.
How about him finding the ship? She finds the ship. She goes with the military. You know, it, like, takes off and she's dropped off by him in that ship. And she brings the story to Perry. He's like, I can never run this. You sound insane. Like, I like that aspect as well. Like, there's no other real superheroes in this world, and she probably would be laughed out of the newspaper.
Would have loved more Daily Planet stuff. I like that cast.
Mm-hmm. What about the line at the end? Welcome to the planet.
That Switchfoot was going to start singing there for a second.
Oh my God. So corny. Why did they not just go to another planet? I found them, my parents, my people. I love that scene. One of the other much maligned scenes is when Jenny's like, it's coming in on the RSS feeds, and she looks at her phone. I don't know how anyone didn't catch that. Like, who has half a brain that is in the editing bay? Like, this scene is dumb. We need to remove it. We're going to be laughed at, Zach. No one has the wherewithal to do that. I love the view from Zod's deck, like when he's overlooking the city, like all that design. Like, even you get some kind of like alien vibes on the design of their ship.
Prometheus for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So cool. Smallville got effed up in that fight. My God. And yeah, so you're in the Daily Planet. You're Lawrence Fishburne. You see an alien ship landing in the city. How are you not telling everyone to evacuate immediately? Like, where is everyone's brain? Just everyone get the F out. There's an alien ship landing. It looks like a weapon. Let's move. I think that was even, I'm not bringing up Batman vs. Superman again, but I think that is brought up. Like Wayne, he calls everyone during the middle of the fight. It's like, evacuate the building. No S, Sherlock. Sorry, I'm getting agitated thinking about that movie.
Bruce Wayne driving around in a Leaf.
He couldn't have gotten a cooler
Prius.
car. I think it was like a Jeep
Prius.
Liberty or something.
Yeah, I think it was a Jeep.
The Jeep Liberty.
Cherokee.
Get out of the building.
I would have removed them kissing in the human ash. Just not a good time for jokes at that moment. Millions dead. Like you're kissing in the middle of the worst tragedy in the history of our planet. Millions
It's also
dead.
like, why are they kissing? They have no relationship.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe just like a high five.
If Lois high-fived him at that moment.
Oh, there was another.
Fist bump.
I was watching with Amanda, my wife. She's like, "Why is Lois on the plane? Like she was in the mission, like the whole time. Like she got the story." And then he was like going up to fly at the end. He's like, "Yeah, I'd step back a little bit." And then she's like, "Why doesn't he move? Why does she have to move?" I think this movie is unfairly maligned, in my opinion. But again, I get all the feedback that this, that, and the other thing are bad. I still have a fun time with it. I've come to accept this movie, and I'm bummed that something better didn't come from it. So I'm still at 4 stars.
Cripes. Let's see. Honorable mentions. I hated the scene where Clark is working at the bar and that guy punches him. That's a great moment.
Truck.
But then the fact that the guy walks out and Clark put the truck up through like the telephone poles.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, like whatever. It's Elseworlds. This is a different Clark. It's still stupid. Like, it's like, all right, if this isn't the Superman we know or whatever, it's still kind of like a dumb scene, I thought. Go ahead.
I was going to agree with you because it's like, how does he get away with destroying this truck but can't save Jonathan Kent in front of everybody? That's a busy truck stop. How did he do this with no one seeing him?
Very busy.
But we can't save her dad.
Goyer.
We didn't really talk much about Michael Shannon, but I felt like he was giving it 110% in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Michael Shannon. I thought he was great as Zod, like perfect casting.
He talks about loving working with Snyder, if I remember correctly. Like, he speaks very highly of the experience doing this movie.
Yeah, he said that he even asked Snyder's blessing to even do the Flash movie.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, what was he, when he's yelling, I will find him.
Yeah.
Yeah, his delivery on that is so good. I will find him.
Paul just dropped that image. I love that shot of him with the spotlight and the scar on his face.
But how about that moment where he grabs Ma Kent by the throat and then he throws the tractor into the barn? That felt there was like moments like that where it's just like action for action's sense, for action's sake all over again.
Right.
I love the Morpheus homage with Lawrence Fishburne covered in dust walking around New York City. It's like the same exact look in The Matrix. My king.
I need to go back and listen to our Matrix episodes. Oh my God, what a hoot.
I had this line. I was trying to work it in at some point, but I said, if my eyes are rolling back and you think I am possessed by a demon, don't worry. I'm just watching Man of Steel. My other big thought while watching this is that I think Zack Snyder thinks he's James Cameron, but he's actually Michael Bay.
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah.
This has more in common with Transformers than it does like Batman Begins.
My God. Very, very
Preach.
Provocative statement, but very true.
Thank you. Yes, I find this movie rightfully maligned. I was very disappointed in the writing. I think with a better script, because I like what Zack Snyder can do, but I just think the script was abysmal. So I'm at 2 stars.
2 stars. Actually, I mean, I just want to call myself out. I predicted that from the intro.
You did.
By the way.
And he tried to
dog on a bicycle, backpedal out of it. But
we know.
I'm happy with 2 stars from Proto, to be honest. Pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased with our discussion.
We did it.
A 5-star discussion, if I may say.
5-star discussion. Mosh in chat, this maligned movie still has a 3.0 on Letterboxd. Interesting. I guess I never thought to look to see what the average was. Maybe I felt it was lower. Maybe in the comics community it's lower than that. It's probably like a 2.5. All right. We have some letters to get to. You can send us a letter, an audio memo at 70mmpod@gmail.com. I had to think about what our email was for a second. Let me see. Who do we want to go to first? Let me pull up our little machine here. Letter machine. Starred. Brady sent us a voice memo. Let's play this.
What's up, 70mm? This is Brady. I just wanted to come on here and say thank you for the past month. I've been listening to you guys, and I've really, really appreciated listening to Danny, Proto, and Slim argue about movies for an hour every week. It has seriously been awesome to listen to and has brought lots of joy to me. Loved the episode last week on American Splendor. Thought it was great. Definitely hidden gem. And I wish Paul Giamatti was cast in more movies nowadays. I feel like I haven't seen him in a movie in a while. But I'm super excited to hear your guys' opinions on Spider-Verse. I caught an IMAX showing at 10 o'clock after work one day and personally thought it was great. I feel like IMAX is the only way to see it. But I actually came on here to ask you guys a question. I'm 18 years old and I'm going to Appalachian State University for film next year. And I'm super excited. And it's all based off of a movie that I watched when I was 7 or 8 years old, which was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. A little early to watch, if you ask me, but you can thank my dad for that. And it seriously inspired my film journey. So I just wanted to come on here and ask you guys, what is one film, your earliest memory with film that really just impacted your life completely? I don't know if you guys have answered this question before, but I'm just curious. So let me know. Thank you guys so much and can't wait to hear the conversation. Bye.
Wow. Brady with a big question. Tom in chat, 18 years old and his voice is 30 times deeper than mine. Goodness.
What a great voice.
True.
Sounded great.
Earliest movie memory of one that changed your life. Right? That
Steven Spielberg's Hook.
Oh.
Hook changed my life as a kid. I've been very hesitant to pick it for this pod.
Right.
Could be my later this year pick for one of the months.
What?
Yeah, I watched Hook so much as a kid growing up
Peter Pan
where
month.
I would like daydream that I was Peter's son in this movie. Run Home Jack, playing baseball. I loved Hook as a kid.
Wow.
I think it's what started my love of movies.
I don't remember one. I do remember my earliest movie memory, which we talked about as like a potential theme. Remember like first movie memory month or something like that? I remember seeing the Ninja Turtles movie in theaters. At like the Village, what was it called? It was like Village Theater, Village something.
King of Russia.
You're thinking of King of Prussia.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, like I would love to redo Ninja Turtles for this pod at some point because I haven't watched it in a long time, and just watching the movie will bring back so much of those memories. Like that was my first movie memory, and seeing like realistic turtles on screen, and like I would get the toys, I would get the comics, so it's all connected to so much of my childhood. But it's Ninja Turtles probably for me.
I remember my dad ordered a bunch of pizzas and we got in his truck and we went to a drive-in to see Ninja Turtles.
I don't think I've ever been to a drive-in theater.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been.
Oh. Dang.
Yeah.
Should that be
a meetup?
a meetup option?
Whenever the meetup happens.
Bring your cars, everyone.
Everyone drive to the meetup.
We'll all fit in one car.
Yeah, I guess a movie that I haven't mentioned before, like I've always said The Matrix. But I remember a movie that kind of stayed with me was actually a Steven Spielberg movie, Empire of the Sun.
Oh. Whoa.
Which is from 1987 and has a young Christian Bale.
Baby Bale.
Yeah, he's living in Shanghai, and the Japanese invade, and then he ends up in a prison camp. And I don't know how old I was when I watched that, but I just remember watching that and being like kind of rocked by seeing a movie that's in a historical setting about like something I like knew nothing about. And I think that kind of was like, oh, wow, like movies can tell you about like history and kind of just like showed me things that I never seen before. Like there's some, as a kid watching it, just some things in there I like wasn't prepared for. But that I remember that movie's always kind of stayed with me. I have a soft spot for that movie.
Goodness. Thanks for the question.
Great question. Let's hear from Thomas. So this is a long email here.
Oh, Lord.
Man of Steel dad problems.
Here we go.
70mm crew, good evening. I accidentally stumbled into the village while looking for some Letterboxd merch a few months ago and found your podcast. I've almost caught up to where you were when I started listening at the last Temptation of Christ episode. I subscribed on Patreon a while back and have loved hanging out in Discord and participating in the watch parties. What a great community you've built. I don't like where this is going. Thus, sadly, I embark on what may be a lonely but righteous journey. I get a sense that many people have enjoyed Man of Steel. With such forgettable music, shocking CGI, terrible direction, this is surprising. This is the case against Kevin Costner's Pa Kent.
Should you just stop there?
Should we stop? Let's see what else we have in the letters bag. Okay. We can put aside that Kevin Costner is perhaps one of the most boring actors ever to have been in several movies.
Wait. I think now we stop.
Name the movies, Thomas.
We can put aside that he acts hardly at all in this movie. Pa Kent is a terrible father who actively harms his kid in this movie. What are Pa's lessons to Clark? The world will fear you. Nothing about how to communicate effectively with people. Nothing about the value of difference or how to endure scorn. Pa Kent teaches young Superman nothing in the way of coping skills. He doesn't even try to relate to his son. You must hide yourself from them. Not until the right time. Pa never believes that there will be a right time. He teaches his son to hide, to fear. Where is Clark when we see him as an adult? He is alone, isolated, going from place to place with no friends, no connections. Does that sound like a healthy God to you? Your power makes you powerless. Pa Kent believes that if his son ever shows his power, the world will attempt to destroy him. He does not believe the world can tolerate his difference. He believes neither in humanity as a people nor his son's ability to inspire them. Almost done. Imagine a Pa Kent that teaches Clark basic coping skills. A Pa Kent that knows people are scared and jumpy, but also caring. A Pa Kent that teaches his son warmth and how to love, to believe in people, and to demonstrate this love of them with his powers. To use the power of his example to inspire and save. Did I mention I can't stand Pa Kent in this movie? He's terrible. Love the show. Keep up the great work. I hope I've changed some hearts and minds on Pa Kent. P.S. Henry is a good Superman. Kevin Costner is good at JFK. Thomas B.
He got all that from Man of Steel?
Thomas, how many farm owners, fathers, do you know are capable of teaching their sons about coping with scorn and growing up in the modern world?
They're alien sons from another planet.
Thomas wanted this movie to be 4 hours long to fit all those scenes in. But the other thing, the thing I disagree, I think, with the most about that is that I think even if those things are true, that is like a sign of like what, not what a perfect father is, but what like a real father is. Because often as a parent, you will love your children. Like your first thing is to protect, like you want to protect and love your children, but that might mean like you don't always give them the best advice because you are fearful of them. Like the thing he does do a lot is he shows his love for Clark that feels very genuine. Mm-hmm. And that can give parents, like that can guide parents to give the wrong advice. And that's very real. Like your movies aren't just supposed to display perfect characters, perfect mothers and fathers. It's supposed to display real ones. Like that's better. Like, so if this character is flawed, that's all the more better to me.
Thanks for the letter, Thomas. Glad to have you with us, even with your wrong opinions on Man of Steel.
Like taking communion after what Proto just said.
Where's the Jared Leto Proto Photoshop wearing the white gown? Can someone drop that? Last letter, the stars have aligned once again. Subject line from Samuel. What's up, 70mm? Had to email you guys once again today on the 10th anniversary of Man of Steel after Danny finally picked it for this week's podcast ep. Much like Henry Cavill's Kal-El in this amazing film, I Ascended. Just like in everything else he's in, Henry is a vision. Kevin Costner brings incalculable fall asleep on the recliner watching First Blood Part 2 at 3 p.m. dad energy. Michael Shannon's unbridled rage is uncontained by his 6th grade boy's supercuts bangs. And Amy Adams delivers spunk and charm as an ideal Lois Lane. That's one thing I forgot to mention. How about them looking for Clark for 30 years in space? Isn't that crazy? Like, they get freed from the Phantom Zone when Krypton explodes. That's how long they've been looking for him. Holy moly.
And it wasn't until he signaled them.
Right.
They weren't going to find him.
Who's cutting his hair in space? Does their hair grow? Right?
Zod's hair?
He definitely needed a different cut. I will agree with the letters.
Maybe because they were bred to be military, they come out with a military haircut.
Oh.
He had like the South Philly special going on.
You see that haircut of people interviewing about I-95 collapsing. Delco, rise up. Back to the letter. The score, iconic, tearing up as I write this. Hans, my heart is yours. Thank you so much for covering this, giving other podcasts an ideal to strive towards.
Oh my God.
P.S. Kingdom of Heaven does not have an all-white cast. Please, Slim. Also, I cannot stress enough, don't waste your time with the theatrical. Director's cut is a different film. Love the pod. You guys are awesome. Goodbye, Samuel.
Thank you, Samuel.
Great
What
letter.
an email.
Fantastic. It's time for my pick for next week.
Oh my God, I forgot.
Yeah.
It's happening.
I mean, it's been a long night, a lot to get through.
I forgot.
I had a lot of options here.
Yeah, you did.
I had a lot of freaking options. I was trying to think of some fun ones, some powerful ones. Logan was in the running. Logan was in the running. It's not Logan. It's not. We're not ready yet.
No.
Okay, we're not ready yet.
We need
I thought about the art. I was like, what if I just want to get Danny to draw Logan?
You can just
art,
ask me.
you
I'll
know?
do it for
Should
you.
we do the movie for
That's it. I know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Wow.
I also was close to choosing Blade, but it left streaming.
Oh my
since I
gosh,
picked it. I was pretty
Blade.
much locked on Blade, and it left streaming. Then I thought about doing Time Cop. Time Cop's based on a comic book.
What the?
Jean-Claude
Which
Van
one?
Damme on the main feed. Could you imagine? My God. One day we'll get there.
What did you pick?
But I had to go back further than I ever thought possible,
Oh my God.
to the year 2000.
Oh, no.
Director that has long been in our lives, you know?
Oh my God.
The next Spielberg.
Stop.
Remember when we were talking about Mask of the Phantasm?
Yep.
And like I jokingly said that when like people ask like, "Oh, what's the best Batman movie?" And then all those comic nerds would be like, "It's Mask of the Phantasm." Actually, this is like that movie when I was growing up. I haven't watched his pre-LB, haven't watched it in years, but I was that nerd saying the best superhero movie is M. Night's Unbreakable
Oh no.
from 2000.
Mr. Glass.
I can see you saying this.
I was
Slim.
that nerd.
You had to have been that
I
nerd.
was the nerd. When I was a kid, this movie was like the perfect movie, but I haven't watched it since maybe, 20 years, 15, 20 years.
I haven't watched it since my initial viewing of this film.
Really?
Wow.
I had the DVD. I had this thick DVD. It had like a book in it.
Yeah,
So
you
like
did.
this changed the game. When this came out, it was like a superhero movie, but not. It was very strange. It rocked world. So I'm excited to rewatch it. It's on HBO Max. It's on Max. Bruce Willis,
Bruce
Samuel
Willis.
Jackson, M. Night, the King.
Oh man, I'm excited. Yeah, I don't know when the last. It might have been when I saw it in theaters. I had no idea.
So the plot of this, the synopsis: an ordinary man makes an extraordinary discovery when a train accident leaves his fellow passengers dead and him unscathed. The answer to this mystery could lie with the mysterious Elijah Prince, a man who suffers from a disease that renders his bones as fragile as glass. So essentially, Bruce Willis, it's like a Bruce Willis movie. Is this before Signs? Right? This is his second one after Sixth Sense, I think. So Sixth
All I
Sense
know
came
is-
out. This comes out. Bruce Willis is like impervious to harm in a real life movie. This is their follow up to Sixth Sense.
All I know is not only is this the push your glasses up best, whatever you said, feels like people's favorite M. Night movie as well. This is like top tier M. Night for some.
Mm-hmm.
This is in the holy trinity of M. Night.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what the other two are. I'm
his
not gonna
run
say.
at this point, right?
Sixth Sense,
Wasn't it Sixth
Unbreakable,
Sense, Unbreakable
Signs.
Yeah.
That's the Holy Trinity.
The trilogy.
The Holy Trilogy. So M. Night back on the pod.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. This is awesome.
Wow.
Big pick.
Great pick. This is a big pick.
God, Bruce's performance in this.
I wish I could remember it.
Proto, any closing thoughts before we disappear into the night for Unbreakable?
Oh crap. I don't really have anything. You know, I haven't been able to watch as many movies as I wanted to. I'm dealing with pink eye right now.
I didn't want to say anything.
It's kind of taken over my life. But I'll get through it and I'll get back on to watching movies. And that's the great thing. Movies are always there. You know, no matter what happens in our life, we can put them down for any amount of time. And they're just there waiting for us to feel better and be ready, get our eyes healed. If it's Pink Eye or if it's Man of Steel.
We'll see everybody for M. Night and Unbreakable. $70mm is a tape deck production featuring original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance and V'ger, the robot who loves movies, provided by Pertalexis. Producer at large Dale_A. Transcripts provided by Sophie Shin and music composed by Cinematric. Prints and other merch are available on 70mmpod.com. This episode was mixed, edited, and produced by me, Slim. Support our Patreon for access to our VHS Village Discord to talk movies with new friends, access to our exclusive episodes in the 70mm vault, discounts on merch, uncut episodes, and a physical membership card mailed to you. To check out other Tape Deck podcasts, find the link in the episode notes. And if you'd like to support our friends at Letterboxd and upgrade to Pro or Patron status, you can do so with a 20% off discount using the links on 70mmpod.com. Goodbye.
This is a Tape Deck podcast.